Life will be better if we refuse to be bitter. Do we believe that? One of the disturbing trends among those I consider brethren is an increasing bitterness toward those who disagree, especially our own brethren. Nowhere is this seen more profoundly than in our discussions of politics, culture, and COVID here on social media. Much of it reads like 2 Samuel 3 and the strife in Israel. God will judge us for it, all of us. That means you and me, not just that guy behind the tree. And if you're thinking, it's not me, then yeah, maybe it's you too. Some seem to think the solution is to become silent or abandon social media entirely. Today's Morning Minutes in the Bible on Throwback Thursday offers another option. Bitter Brethren by Dan Shipley, from Plain Talk Magazine, April 1982. Recently, a small, struggling church in Texas divided because of a misunderstanding between brethren. More recently, a good church in East Texas suffered a similar fate. A young and growing church in California had nearly a third of its members to leave last year because of internal strife. Many other churches are threatened with the possibility of division. Some are, for all practical purposes, already divided, but still meeting together, oftentimes in an atmosphere scarcely conducive to worshiping the Lord. Regardless of what has caused the conflict, its consequences are always hurtful. For instance, weak Christians are often disillusioned and discouraged to the point of giving up when they witness such controversy and the conduct usually associated with it. They are encouraged to take sides without really understanding why. Such conflicts are often characterized by hard feelings and bitterness between brethren. All still claim to love each other, but their claim is often contradicted by their words, attitudes, and conduct. James says plainly, "Speak not one against another, brethren," chapter 4, verse 11. It's amazing how many reasons bitter brethren can find to justify doing what James says not to do. Even when we feel that we're in the right, and we always do, could we justify our violating a dozen truths in order to uphold one? Spiritual truth always suffers when defended by carnal means. Conflicts have a way of impairing our vision. In BC days, before conflict, we saw no evil in these brethren. Now we see no good. Back then, we never impugned their motives. Now we find ourselves suspicious of their every activity. We see our good friends and brethren of past years transformed into some kind of enemy. It appears that Satan has blinded the minds of some believers too. 2 Corinthians 4:4 and chapter 11, verse 3. Brethren, may God help each of us to swallow our pride and to sincerely follow after the things which make for peace. Romans 14, verse 19. God's people are to be peacemakers, not peace breakers. Matthew 5, verse 9. That means we must aggressively seek to make things right, regardless of who made things wrong. We must have such humility as to recognize the remote possibility that I, may have contributed something to the misunderstanding. Perhaps I may have spoken harshly or manifested a poor attitude. There is the possibility that I have not been long-suffering, kind, and considerate as a Christian should be, 1 Corinthians 13. Is there a chance that I have not treated my brethren as I would like to be treated? Matthew 7:12. Have I prayed for them? And do I really want things to be made right between us? Am I willing to cease making some justification for being divided and work for unity? Am I willing to even take the wrong if need be? 1 Corinthians 6, verse 7. Can I forgive? Will I? Finally, we must ask ourselves, if we have such lowliness of mind so as to count others better than self, whether we are looking to our own things or to the things of others, and whether we are truly Christ-minded, Philippians 2, verses 2 through 5. God offers the remedy for these problems. Will you be a doer of his word? Dan is right. Bitterness and strife are not the fruit of those who are doers of God's word. They lead to assassinations like we see in 2 Samuel 3, where Joab murdered Abner in cold blood, in part out of a sense of rivalry, but mostly in bitterness over the death of his own brother in battle, 2 Samuel chapter 2. Thank God David had a different heart and humbled himself enough to mourn Abner's death. Our assassinations today are with words designed to destroy character rather than spill blood. A doer of his word must not saturate in strife or bathe in bitterness. A doer is humble enough to mourn the strife among believers. As Dan asked, will you be a doer of his word? Thanks for watching today's Morning Minutes in the Bible on Throwback Thursday. Until tomorrow, this is James McClenny hoping you have a great day.